Welcome back to the Hit Factor podcast. I'm Saul Allen, joined tonight by a very special guest, Kyle Narkum. We don't have our regular hosts with us, Jeremy Reed, Jeffrey Coughlin, or really, honestly, Jay Beal. Instead, we have kind of the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Narkum. Now, typically, when Jay hosts someone, he says, hey, I'm not going to ask you any biographical information. People listen to other podcasts for that. And I kind of want to maintain that tradition, but still, give us like the 3-sentence shooter bio. Like I'm about to sponsor you.
I'm very competitive by nature. I push to be as good as I can at all times, which sometimes causes dumpster fires. And I'm trying to get better every day.
So you've been shooting competitively 4 years now? You started in late 21?
No, I shot 2 matches late 22, and then really nothing until April of 23, and it was a classifier match.
Because I think in 23, a mutual friend of ours is like, hey, I've got this friend who's really getting into it. Can you get him into that class you're hosting? And I said, I'll try, and then you ghosted me.
Was that the stagger class?
That was.
Okay, because I thought I was talking to someone, and they told me it was full or something. They were trying to get me in or something.
They were, and then I think you ghosted me. Anyway, so you've really been shooting for about 3.5 years. So you're part of that broad cohort of people who started in CO, and now people who start in LO and get really good really fast.
Yeah, so I think for me, I got good, and then I got very complacent and didn't learn anything for like an entire year. And then that's when I shot nationals, and it was a nightmare experience, to be honest. Kind of very demoralizing, but also very eye-opening. Because like I said, I don't think I learned anything for almost the whole year just because it came so naturally to me, and I didn't push to learn any further than what I could already do, which is kind of shooting myself in the foot a little bit. But I didn't really, it wasn't eye-opening until I got to nationals, and I was like, oh, maybe I'm not as good as I thought I was in comparison to all these other people I don't know.
Man, that was heartbreaking because obviously I shot that nationals with you, and I have a very high opinion of your shooting. And like it started rough, and then it got rougher. Yeah. And at a certain point, I thought he's just gonna walk away, like in the middle of this match. He's just gonna like put his guns in the bag and go home.
I was still too far away from home to go home, but it crossed my mind a little bit.
Like if you had driven yourself there, you might have left early.
I probably would have if I was not with you and Hewins and a couple of the other people I still talk to occasionally. The squad made it much more tolerable for me personally. Yeah, Keanu.
Yeah, it's just again because I had a very high opinion of your shooting, and you're a very fast shooter and you're a very athletic shooter, and you just refused to do whatever was necessary to hit the targets.
Yeah. And I think I got too emotional about it, and then I was totally just blindly shooting and not really aiming a whole lot, which is evident in my scoreline. But yeah, so it did.
Well, and we've all done that. At a certain point, you just start shooting, and you want them to hit the targets, and you just decide, I'm just going to pull the trigger, and it'll be there or it won't, but I'm done working at it.
So I should have done that. But instead, I didn't do that. And then, that helped me trajectory-wise. Like, after that, well, there was a time where I did maybe sell both of my guns and buy other guns to try out for a while to blame something other than myself, which I quickly learned was not the case.
So I thought after that match, like, either this guy's quitting or he's going to get really good. And you actually got really good. That was only a year and a half ago.
Yeah, it was hard. And then the 6 months, like, after that, of, like, shooting other platforms and being like, oh, okay, this is what I need to be doing, but, like, all the time. And it was never really the guns problem, it was the me problem. I think that helped me more than anything else. So I honestly think crashing and burning super hard at Nationals, my first one, was actually the most beneficial thing that's happened since I've started this. In an oddly, maybe sadistic way. But, Yeah, I'd say that was very eye opening, and I just feel like it kind of bums me out sometimes, realizing I wasted a lot of time not learning anything. Really, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is. We're here.
I don't know. I've spent years not learning anything, but kind of enjoying it.
Yeah.
So you're also very competitive. So
Oh yes.
so you look at every shooter at the match before anyone is fired around, and you're like, I'm better than this guy. I'm not sure I'm better than that guy, but I want to be.
No, not really. So, like any major I've gone to, I've just looked at it like I want to beat everyone that I'm going to. Like so, Western PA, for example, I went there. I mean, I won M class, but my goal was to just beat everyone in CL, for better or worse. Didn't happen, but it was close. I think it was like 4.5, 5% off of Alex.
Alex.
Wendell? Yeah, Wendell. That's
Sorry,
also the match.
just making you say the full name so people don't have to look up practice score results to know what we're talking about.
Yes, that's also the match I learned out. I can't shoot a tuck to save my life at all. So that was,
And luckily now you're great at them.
yeah, better.
So one of the things I also really wanted to talk to you about was not just your competitive nature, and you sort of belong to the class of folks who started in slide ride optics divisions and get very good very quickly. And you're an innately fast shooter. Like you want to do everything as fast as possible, and that's your default mode. And when you shoot really well, very consistently, you describe it as feeling very slow. And then I'll look at like the raw times on the stage, and they're competitive with literally everyone at the match. Yet it felt very slow. So that's interesting. But the other thing I really wanted to get to today is your works on stage design. Okay. And I wanted to talk to you specifically about the relationship between your training and stage design and whether or not they feed into each other. So what are some of the matches you've designed stages for?
I did Area 7. I helped out with Stand By to Fly a little bit. Aiming for Zero, the one in Keene, New Hampshire. I'm gonna mess this up, but the club is just the acronym for the club is CCSSEF. They're in Keene, New Hampshire.
Chester County.
It's like Cheshire County.
Okay.
Like I said, I don't know every. I'm gonna botch it, so I'm just gonna say it's SSEE. Yeah, there we go. Anyways, so I designed the Aiming for Zero. I do pretty much every single one of their locals just because those guys are like unbelievably passionate with the sport. So like they go the extra mile in building the stages and really making them come to life, which is awesome to see. I mean, I think the attendance there jumped from like 20 to like filling matches pretty quick. So I've done all theirs. I've helped out with SIG a lot, PCSL and USPSA. I've done a couple up in Maine. I think one of the local clubs is us, Augusta. We did one up there. I helped with Mississippi Classic this year. I think I've got 8 or 9 stages into them next year that they probably will end up using. I typically post a lot of the stages to a Facebook group where people can just use them because it's my way of giving back to the sport because for whatever reason I have a good eye for it. So, but I mean, a lot of that also comes from me seeing all these other stage designers. Like I browse Instagram every night, so like I'll see something on a stage and I'm like, ooh, I like that. I wonder how I can incorporate that or use it in a similar way, but put a little spin on it, and that'll actually translate to what I'm working on. And I'm like, I'm going to incorporate this, but I think they could have done this, and it might have been more interesting if I did a little bit of that. And then that's kind of my way of returning the favor of them doing great stages, me seeing them, and then also offering back to kind of whoever wants to use them.
Yeah, we run one of your stages every month at my local. Neil Merrill just takes one of them from your Facebook page and then calls it Kyle's stage. So every month we shoot Kyle's stage. So when you said it makes a stage interesting, what does an interesting stage mean?
So like for instance, some things I think are pretty interesting to use is like certain, not like a skill check, but it kind of is putting partials where you might gain a little bit of an advantage, whether you're moving on it, backing out on it, taking it from further away, or eliminating a position by shooting it. I think those are very interesting pieces. There's also like this other like small nuance piece that I like is where you can shoot an activator outside of the array you're necessarily shooting targets at, so you can't really game the timing as much. So it's solely on you going into an entirely different position or an array to shoot, and being fully aware of where the activator is as you get there, and then when you're going to engage it, or you're just going to sit there and wait. So I think that's a very interesting part of a stage too, which I've been trying to use more and more.
Yeah, I've seen in some of your stages the separated activator from logical activation sequence, or you can see the activator from farther away or from multiple places. So you have that option of sort of activating early.
I also like, there's another part of that too, if we're just talking activators, and you and I have talked about aggressive activator sequences, where you maybe give them the activator and then something to do in between that, but not maybe the easiest thing to do in between those things. So like you actually have to execute to a high level to actually make it worth what you're doing, which I thought was cool. There was actually a stage I did for Keen not so long ago where it was two activators. It was a swinger and oh no, I'm sorry. It was just a swinging piece of steel. You had three targets you could shoot, and some people just shot and waited. I actually shot the activator to paper, hit steel first pass, and then paper. And like that ended up winning me, like giving me a ton of points just because I executed that. So I think those are cool little ways to separate some people too.
So you said separation, and this is obvious to anyone who's heard me harangue people about stage designs. I think if a stage doesn't create separation, then at a certain point the question is, why is it in the match? And if the stage is dead simple, where shooters will find a way to incidentally separate on it. So it tends not to be stages that are too simple. I think the stages that have the minimal separation are actually the stages that are too hard.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, if you look
or
at like
there's too much obligated movement.
Yeah, so if you look at stage 7, I think it was Area 7, the mags on barrel, I think everyone was within a second with almost the same hits, and it was like no one really got a lot of points in that stage. Well, to your point too of what's really eye-opening me is actually Race Gun Nationals that kind of opened my eyes to how much of a separator that steel can be. Because I don't know how many people go to war with like one piece of steel and just fumble the bag. But I've realized like how much just even like a couple poppers and like even if you give them like the illusion where they can move on it easily, and then they try to rush to it, and then you miss, and then I just think it's an interesting tool to use.
I think sometimes if there's a popper by itself, where it's just almost an afterthought, there's a logical place where you can maintain momentum. You're picking up a couple pieces of paper, and there's just one little popper. It's not a big deal. It's not a whole array of steel. You don't need to hard stop and see a nice crisp dot in the middle of it. You can just sort of tag it on your way by, and then a lot of us don't.
Yeah, so I think steel. I'm going to try and use a little bit more, just to create those scenarios where the guy who takes it on the move might gain an extra quarter second, and the guy who doesn't might lose it, or the guy who thought he was just going to fly through it and torch it sends 7 makeups, and now he's 2.5 seconds behind. But yeah.
So this coming year, so the question I started with that I want to kind of hammer you on is, how does thinking about stages affect your training? So you came back from nationals in 24. You sort of went on the gun quest that maybe this gun just isn't friendly with my hands. Let me try this other gun. Let me try this other gun. Let me try this other gun. Nope, it's me. The common denominator is me. It turns out I can shoot well or poorly with basically any modern gun. And then you get really into stage design. Basically, at that same time, you started on SketchUp, right, at the last legs of SketchUp, and then you made the jump to practice Sim, which makes life very easy.
Yes.
For the people who have to build the stage anyway.
Yeah.
So is there a dialogue between what you're designing and what you're working on?
I don't know if there's a direct correlation between the two. I don't have like a ton of high round count practices, so a lot of my practices are like very simple fundamentals. where I might set up like maybe two pieces of paper and a steel, and I'm either doing transitions or maybe entries, exits. So it's nothing that necessarily correlates to my training per se. The things that heavily fuel my practice is, for example, like for some reason, if there's a target behind a barrel or there's a partial behind a barrel, I don't know if it's my eyes looking at the vision barrier or something, but I have the most difficult time aiming around a vision barrier that's close to the target at distance. So that's like I'll pick things up from matches to work on, maybe not necessarily stage design.
I don't know. I've started seeing a whole bunch of downrange ports in your stages a few months ago.
Well, yeah, so that's yeah, I guess kind of. So maybe there is some, but my I've never really had an issue with ports. It's for some reason I don't know if it's barrels, if it's just because I'm so scared of a barrel strike that I'm like over aiming or under aiming, or I'm just scared and I'm staring at the barrel or what it is. But there's something with me for barrels, so that's like one of the things I was working on in training.
And you
I
pretty
like,
much only shot matches with see-through walls.
yes,
And that's largely true for me. For folks who've been around the sport longer, when walls used to be opaque and pieces of plywood, then
oh like Washington. I think
yeah, I
Washington
mean they
State
still are
uses
in Eastern Washington. If you see
yeah.
maybe the Inland Empire sectional uses those white plywood walls. A couple other matches out west still use those. We used to use these sort of green plywood walls. And it changes the dynamic a lot if every time you're coming into a position, you can see the target sort of your whole way in, which of course we
Yeah.
can with snow fences. So what are you going to do next year?
Actually, funny enough, I was just talking to our buddy Dylan Poulin about this. Realistically, the plan for next year is probably much more deliberate practice, maybe shoot a little bit less locals if I can do it. I mean, it's only been like a week or two without a local, and I already missed some of the guys. So it's gonna be hard to do that and like stick to not shooting locals. Um, because as competitive as I am, I really like the social aspect of the sport. It's people I get to see that I normally don't see all the time. Um, but I think for next year, I'm just gonna bite the bullet because I think I'd rather selfishly I want to do a little more than I have been, and I actually want to. I mean, I think I was like 38th at nationals this year or something. I want to make like a hard push for like I don't know 20 top 25 top 20 is like my real goal. So I think the only way to do that for me is to like take a step back from the locals and really break things down in practice that I struggle with.
That makes sense. I, sitting on the other side,
Yep.
where I don't shoot, I mean, I shoot more than many people, but shoot a lot less than you guys. Something when Jay had Dylan on that we were kind of envious of is you, Dylan, and Frank for about 18 months. You had three people getting good really fast, super competitive, like all friendly,
Yeah.
off the range and on the range. And I was thinking about it in preparation for our talk right now. And the way a lot of us frame it is like, oh, if I make a mistake, then they'll clip me. But I think it's better than that. It's if I don't shoot well, I won't win. Because if you think about, you go to a local right now, and those guys aren't there. You can shoot poorly and win,
Yep. Fair.
right? If Dylan's there, the only way you're going to win is shooting well.
Yes.
Like, avoiding errors is not the path.
No.
It's shooting
Yeah.
well. Like, avoiding errors becomes its own error. And we've talked about that before. Is if the mindset is, oh, I'm going to avoid errors, then you sort of typically you charge yourself time to do that.
Yeah.
And then that time is gone forever.
And the thing too, so like with the point you're making, so I have Frank and Dylan, which is like huge. Even Kenton Stedman is like another really good guy to have around. But there's like, I'm not going to say it's stress, and I think I actually heard Sam and Jay talking about this, where it's not necessarily stress, but there's like you have to do good. So I wouldn't say like I'm not stressed about it, but it's like, okay, I know I have to shoot well. These are the things I have to do, and there's like a level of focus that comes into it a little bit more than like. And I'm trying to find a way to replicate that in practice, which I feel like I'm lacking a little bit. Whereas like I have nothing to gauge anything off of in practice. Where in practice, then I started to think everything I'm doing is slow. I have nothing to compare it to. So I need to figure out a way to practice and understand what I'm doing in practice, whether it's good or bad, which is something I've struggled with.
Yes. I don't think you're alone in that.
So that's like one of the things, like you're saying, it's so great to have guys like Frank Dillon, Kenton, and even Luther sometimes, where like if I make a mistake, well, I just lost points to that guy because they're gonna probably shoot it well. So I got to figure out a way to bring that level of focus to practice, which I just still haven't really figured that part out yet. I don't know how to replicate it yet.
Do you look forward to that when you go into your match, or do you dread that?
I love it.
Okay.
I love it. Yeah. No,
So you feel like something's at risk every time you show up to a local, like
yeah.
you're under threat.
Yeah, even though like I know locals don't matter in the grand scheme, but like, so actually a perfect example. So if you look at the last one Dylan and I shot, we shot 2 sessions. Session 1, we were just messing around, having fun, making mistakes. He had bikes. I had like an ungodly like Charlie count, and then in the afternoon, I was like, okay, well, that was a little fun. We had a fun, okay, whatever. Now it's like, actually, okay, now shoot the match how you want. Like, we would shoot the match. So that was also fun. But yeah, even doing what we were doing, we were making enough mistakes where, like, people were beating us that wouldn't normally beat us. But that was just him and I having a little bit of fun. But then you look at practice score and you see your name not as high as you'd like it. You can't help but feel some type of way. So, yeah, that was kind of a bummer. But it is what it is.
I mean, you're not built for having fun at matches, Kyle.
If I shoot PCC, I am.
Have you shot PCC?
Yeah, and production. Production is very fun. It's very hard for me, but it's very fun.
So I was reading somebody else's conversation about this with iron sights. They're talking about single stack today, but I think it applies. There's not a shortcut with iron sights like there is with a dot.
No.
And so if you can't do the thing, you can't focus up and do the thing. You just don't have that skill. And I think for me, it's moderate and far distances with iron sights. If they're close enough, my index kind of covers me, and like I can loosely refer to the sights. Mm-hmm. But if you put a tuxedo at 12 yards, I have 2 choices. I can not know whether I hit it, or I can like stop everything, hard aim, and carefully hit it. And they're both losing choices. Nobody who's good at irons makes either of those choices. Right? Everyone who's good, if Mason walks onto that stage, that's not how he shoots a 12-yard tuxedo. Yes. He shoots it about 500 slower than he shoots a 12-yard open.
I actually shot with him. So I shot production not too long ago and shot with him. I think it's my second time ever shooting irons. And, like, it sucks, like, when it's dot, like, I might be somewhat competitive with him. Like, irons, I was like, I'll get him. No, it was brutal.
You can't force it. You can't just try harder. Because your brain doesn't know what's happening. Yeah. Like, you don't have the skill of intuitively knowing how much vision is enough. With a dot, it's pass-fail, right?
Yeah.
You may or may not have the experience with the dot, but it was either there or it wasn't. And if it wasn't there, it's probably a bad shot. And if it was there, even if you were out of control, it's probably a good shot.
Yeah.
Versus I find with iron sights, I'm seeing the front sight from the side of the gun. Not a good shot. It's not a red dot. Or, again, my default is I slow down. I think your default was you shot 30 mics.
Was it 30? No, it was 20.
Okay, but it was a lot.
Yeah.
And I bet you knew about almost none of them.
There's a couple. So I had like a par. I was like, I'm not going to shoot more than 7 mics this whole match. And then stage 1, I flew through it. I put four of them barely into the hardcover, and then 3 of the other ones were just somewhere in the dirt. So I hit my quota on stage 1. Solid. Pretty good.
And not to beat this point into the ground. But I think this is a real difference between sort of learning to shoot a dot gun versus learning to shoot an iron sights gun. So most of the fundamentals of shooting are actually quite similar. And people who are good at one are typically good at the other. But if you don't spend X amount of time, where X is wildly variable depending on the individual, you simply cannot know what you need to know from irons without shooting them regularly. And I definitely can't.
It took me maybe 2.5, three stages to really start understanding, like, okay, I need to be aware of where the front sight is falling in this notch when I'm shooting these targets that are like past 7 yards. And then at that point, I actually was not terrible, but I was actually shooting alphas pretty consistently. And not having as hard.
See, I heard a different report from your match, is that Mason gave you that exact advice, and you would do it for the first 2/3 of the stage, and then feel really slow and just start pulling the trigger.
Well, no, that's when I started figuring out. So I figured it out on the first half of the stage, and then I burned the second half. And then the stage after that, the paper was great, but I was still just so impatient on the steel that I was just winging them. But the paper was good. So I had two games that were good.
So how many matches have you shot in production now? Okay. And did it hurt you enough that you'll just do it a couple more times and stop?
No, actually. So I want to do it. I want to do it more because it wasn't easy. So I'm going to do it more because it was difficult for me.
All right. See, this I love. And this is where we're similar. I'm not nearly as competitive as you, and that shows up in lots of areas of my life. I'm just not. And maybe that's ego defense, but at this point I believe it, so it's true. But when I suck at something, it bothers me, because my sense of self is I don't suck at things, even though there's lots of evidence I suck at all sorts of things. And so anytime I do something, and it could be, driving a motorcycle, shooting a single stack gun, whatever it is, and it's like, wow, I suck at this. After the initial disappointment wears off, like, I get this burning desire to suck less.
Yes. So that's kind of where I'm at. The only thing that might put a little pause on it is if I think Jay is going to shoot Frozen Chosen with us right now, as of this moment. So I may stick with Dot until we shoot that, and then for the first 2 months of next year, I might go pretty heavy with production. But I want to shoot against Jay as well equipped as I can. So I think that might be my plan, because I talked to him, I think it was Thursday, Friday, and asked if he was doing it. And as of then, he was doing it. So I think the plan is I'm going to stick with Dot as best I can for now, and then see how I stack up against Jay at the end of the year.
He might switch to single stack at the last minute. Be careful.
If he does, I will happily suck in production.
Because you pulled me out of single stack for that match last year.
I did.
I was registered in single stack until like 2 days before. And it's like, okay, well, if Kenton and Kyle are coming,
yes, this
will be really tight. I won't shoot a single stack. I'll shoot a CO gun. And then
a real gun?
I had what's that?
A real gun, yeah.
A real gun. I don't know. 1911s are pretty real.
True. 2 World Wars.
Yeah, exactly. Never forget. I mean, I think the first one was more than 100 years ago, so a lot of people have forgotten at this point. But yeah, you pulled me out of single stack back into CO. It was not a fair match.
I think it was fair enough.
It was 35 degrees and on and off raining hard, shooting bag targets on January 1st. That's not a fair match. Like, most of us couldn't work our mag release.
Oh, that was horrible.
It's like it's like your thumb goes and nothing happens. And then you realize your thumb isn't moving because it's basically a little ice brick stuck to your hand.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's always a good time. I mean, it's a wicked fun match. This year, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag Jess up the night before, crash at a hotel. This way I save myself 3.5 hours of driving at 4:30 in the morning.
Yes, that was another element that was not fair, is that you guys drove up at 4 in the morning on New Year's Day. What are you looking at?
Oh, nothing. I was just seeing I was looking at the weather for the week, so my bad.
You can only do one thing, Kyle. Do this thing.
Sorry. It was right there.
All right, so you're gonna have a better finish at factory gun. Are you gonna go shoot race gun as well?
Realistically, I think I would prefer to do IPSC Nationals over race gun if I had to pick. Just because the guys at Greater Pittsburgh do an insanely good job. And I know, and factory guns in Utah this year.
Yeah, so it's gonna go September in Utah, beginning of October in Pittsburgh, and then middle of October for race gun in Ohio. So unfortunately, there's 4 weeks for all 3 nationals, which makes participating in more than 2 of them quite a challenge.
Yeah, so I do think I want to do factory gun and IPSC Nationals if I had to pick. I really don't care if I ever go to Ohio ever again, to be completely honest. I am very excited to see the Utah range in person. That place looks unreal. But yeah,
they definitely have space.
If I had to pick, I would definitely pick IPSC and factory gun over race gun.
And so you said top 25, or maybe top 20, or maybe top 16.
Sure, I'll take it.
And what's fun about shooting CO is if you say that and you sort of put that out into the world, then you have to look at sort of who shoots CO, and there's a lot of people who do. And you're like, oh, well, I'm going to have to beat some combination of all of these people. Versus if you said you wanted to be top 20 in revolver, well, that's half the field. Less.
I mean, I don't know. Carry optics just seems like it's where everyone is. I don't know. LO is kind of blowing up a little more than I thought it was going to. I kind of feel like, well, if we're talking LO, I feel like a lot of the open dudes are being like, well, you know what? I'm just going to pay a little less for ammo, same platform, shoot LO.
Yeah, my gun maker also makes one of these, and I can send it back to them for tuning less frequently.
Yeah. So it feels like that. I feel like I see a lot of people selling like their Atlas Chaoses and et cetera, in switching to LO. So I'll be curious to see what that looks like in like a year or so.
Hopefully it happens quickly.
Yeah. I mean, even what was kind of telling for me is looking at the world's scores and where you kind of have this disparity in every other division other than Open. Open got like demolished by USA. And then you have spacing in almost every other division among shooters. The only one I actually didn't look at was Revolver. I don't know how that panned out. But I feel like
I think US took first, second, and third.
Yeah, I feel like the other production standard production optics, I feel like that was all very telling of like where it's kind of trending. Or I feel like Open is very popular in the US. I'm not sure it's super popular overseas as much as it is here.
Yeah, I think Open is in for a rough few years.
Yeah.
Lots of people tell me I'm wrong, and I'm wrong a lot, so I could be wrong about this one too, but I do think Open's in for a rough few years.
I just every time I look at it, I'm like, I feel like LO is going to skyrocket once everyone just decides they're going to set the open guns down and just start shooting that. I don't know.
They are easy guns to shoot.
They're pretty sweet. The Atlas was super nice to shoot.
Yeah, I mean, they're easy guns to shoot. And I say this as someone who shoots a very easy gun to shoot already.
Yes.
I went to the range today, and I was helping a gentleman at our club who wanted a little bit of instruction on shooting his micro compact. So he had like whatever the smallest bodyguard is. It's like a very small gun.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Was it 380 or was it 9?
Yeah, it was the 380. It was a comped 380 with the easy slide. So the gun didn't recoil. It did make a lot of noise, but it was very hard to hold because, it was about this big.
Yeah, it's a pocket gun. Yep.
And so we were shooting that for a while, and then he left, and I got out my actual guns and shot. And it was like, oh my goodness, my guns are easy to shoot. Like they just kind of stay where they are, and there's, they're easy to hold on to. It's like I shoot some really easy guns.
Speaking of that, you ever get the desire to shoot like a striker fire gun?
Nope, never occurs to me.
Oh, I don't know, something about it. I'm like, it's calling to me.
It's as your wall attests, it's your sort of deep Timmy
It is.
genes.
It is. I gotta pull the doc out.
Yeah, no, don't do it. And I just don't think it's that interesting. I mean, I think it's a really marginal handicap for someone who shoots at your level to shoot a striker-fired gun. Like, I don't think it's not any different, but it's a really marginal handicap. And then once you get used to it, it's not a handicap.
Yeah, that's fair.
And so it's not a... This is kind of, without beating this dead horse either, it's my feeling on shooting from concealment. So, like, people are like, oh, this is fun, this is interesting. Maybe it is, and if it's interesting for you, great. However, the moment enough people do it, everyone will start to optimize their gear to like reduce the gap between their sort of race gear and their concealment gear.
Which you're seeing.
Oh yeah. And not only that, if you provide a big financial incentive for winning from concealment, what will that do? It'll bring the best shooters there. And then once the best shooters go there, guess what happens? Guess who doesn't win from concealment?
Anybody. Besides Christian Seiler.
Yeah, or Jacob Hetherington or whoever, right? So if Seiler's going to win in CO and Jacob's going to win in LO, and you're Joe Blow competitor, would you rather take their marginal performance loss, which they have given up by shooting from concealment, to boost your percentage in those divisions? Like, would you rather be 85% of Seiler or 80% and stay committed to the bit and win nothing?
Good question.
I mean, I think it eats itself really quickly.
Yeah.
And I think if you look at history, the 2017 to 2019 win with Walther shows us the trajectory of this. Walther provided a contingency program up to $6,000 for winning, $4,000 for winning your class at nationals. And what happened? Literally 5 people won everything in IDPA and USPSA with Walters. And they took all of the money. And anyone who might have been curious about, like, oh, maybe I'll use a PPQ and I could get in on that win with Walter contingency. It's like, no, you can't. You're blocked by a better shooter than you who's already in that space.
Yeah.
So my old man yells at clouds theory is this is a fad and it will pass. And the worst thing we could do as a game is institutionalize it and end up with some legacy category or division that nobody cares about. And if third parties want to provide big cash prizes, go for it. You know, if Nike wants to say, hey, if you win the New York City Marathon running with your Nikes untied, we'll give you $1 million. So then the best runners run with their Nikes untied. Go for it, right? I mean, it's not going to make many people run with their Nikes untied. It's going to make 2 or 3 people very wealthy.
So I'm going to do a whole 180 with this.
Go for it.
Training. So, while I'm mulling this over while we talk about some other stuff. So, it's something you, Jay, Dylan, and I did when we trained last year, was the first run, second run thing. And I think that might have been one of the few times where I actually felt some sort of pressure on myself inside of training. So I'm thinking I'm going to utilize that to some degree. I don't know. That it's kind of genius to do it that way, I think. Because you don't have direct competition other than yourself, but you're still trying to beat yourself.
Jay talked about getting some mileage out of that last week when he was talking to Sam Matt.
Yeah.
And how the pressure would sort of, if you shoot your first run well, you feel all that pressure on your second run. Yeah. And when you're going to shoot that first run, you know you're going to get a chance to do it again. And so you better give it your best.
Yeah.
He said it worked for him for 3 runs.
That was it.
But it might work for you for longer. And that's actually an old Jeremy Reed trick, the first run, second run, using the second run to put pressure on the first.
Yeah, I think that's something I'm going to try and use.
So even if you can create that pressure, are you going to have that same level of excitement and focus that you get when you're actually competing? And if you can't, then what are you trying to accomplish in training? Like you specifically.
I think a lot of it for me is like the time investment. So, I mean, what I mean by that really is, so you go to a match, you're there for 6 hours, 6 hours, depending on the match. Um, Maybe not that long. I might be exaggerating a little bit, but you're spending all that time to shoot maybe 2 minutes, give or take, and you've now used all this energy, taping, resetting. What I mean, I could do drills at the range, spend time dry firing at the range, and then I can consolidate it down to like, I don't know, an hour or two, shoot twice as much. I just think the payoff with that would just be more than maybe shooting a match every weekend and losing all that time. Honestly, I think dry firing even at the range is like worlds better than dry firing at home. We have everything to scale. I mean, you're running on like actual dirt, sand. The decking is like actually what you'd be running on at a match. I'd rather even spend more time doing that than necessarily watching 15 people shoot in front of me.
So I understand the value of dry firing on the range. I'm totally sold on the concept. But if I'm standing on a gun range and I still have ammunition with me, I don't have the self-discipline to not just shoot it.
So what I was doing, I did this the last couple times I was at the range. So say I did like actually so specifically moving like aggressive movement on no shoot targets. Like say like I had like two good runs and I was like, okay, and then I had a run or two that I might have nicked it or broke the perf or barely dipped it. What I would do after that is a couple of times just dry, like to understand, okay, that happened when I took this
Probably
step
when your foot went down.
Yeah, which is easier. I think it's a little easier to analyze without the gun necessarily going off. Because I'm still doing all
that's something I want to have the discipline to do this year, is when I make a mistake, not just load up a mag and do it again.
Yeah.
But go upstream from the mistake and say, okay, what were the conditions where the mistake emerged? So although specifically with partials, I'm trying to hit them more.
Okay.
In training. Especially no-shoots. Like, I need to start hitting no-shoots. I liked that I heard Sam say that every practice he hits no-shoots. Because I'll go a bunch of practices without hitting them. And I'm not getting faster doing that. Or I'm aiming really far off them. And so, like, on an IPSC target, I'll give myself a tight partial, and I'll collect all these, like, top ring Charlies, because my brain is just unwilling to aim in the center of the A zone over the no-shoot. And I'll set up, like, a Blake-style array, and it'll be, like, alpha, alpha, too high Charlie, alpha, alpha. And
so that's something I was doing, where I'm trying to not give up. I mean, if I'm standing there shooting it, if I'm static, I want to be able to hit alphas with, like, an inch gap every time.
And actually aim for them. And it's not a zero risk maneuver. That's why the partial is there, is because sometimes people hit it.
Yeah,
and if I can eliminate the risk, then I'm not doing it right. Like, I need to do it where there's a risk where if I don't have the correct fundamentals, I will hit the no-shoot. Instead of aiming so far off it that if I have poor fundamentals, I miss into the alpha.
Yeah. That's where I'm trying to figure out, or I was like trying to move as aggressive as I can and like keep everything good. Because my biggest thing is I do that dip thing a lot with my feet. So I'm trying to move aggressively as I can, where like it's almost as if both my feet are in contact at the same time, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but not firing on the footfall. So either both feet are touching, keeping the feet low to the ground, shooting on the step off, but not on the step down.
Yeah, like almost doing like a heel toe, where like as one foot's coming up, my other foot's landing. So I'm almost always at this level of shooting where like, I don't know, maybe like the dot deviation of movement with just stepping is only like a couple of inches. You don't have these big, long, streaking downs. Which is something I'm just trying to do.
I was in a borrowed basement a couple nights ago, dry firing, trying to do big movements because I don't have a lot of room in my house to do big movements. And so I was trying to do exactly what you're describing, like move really aggressively and then shoot appropriately on a partial. And I found it so frustrating I stopped. It's like I could not get my body to move that aggressively and not watch the dot streak down into the no-shoot some of the time.
Yeah. I notice I have just enough room in my basement where I can do it a little bit. So it gives me just enough feedback where I'm like, I felt my foot do that, and I also saw the dot do that. So I have the feedback I need to like fix it. But it gets frustrating when if I do like a longer string of dry fire, like a longer drill, and say I'm moving one way, back this way, and then going back that way. In the longer drill, I'll default to like caveman stomps a little bit, and I'm trying not to do that. But it's so hard to like just not default to like factory settings in these big long strings of fire.
Oh yeah. So I was watching this happen in dry fire and thinking, all right, can you hinge at the hips more? Can you take like longer, lower steps? Can you have more ground contact? Like, what input do I have that will keep this from happening? And I would try one and then try the other, and that it still just kept happening. It's like if I move that quickly, I can't control it. It's doable. I just didn't figure it out in a night.
So for me to get it to be pretty predictable, I am almost a little more hinged, a little more lower, and it's almost like I'm doing a I don't know what you would call it, but I'm hinged and I'm low, and I'm like, I look like a Looney Tunes character a little bit when I'm moving, but it gives me the most predictable setup for me to move and not have my dot doing this long streak when I'm moving on targets.
But then when I back up, it's the opposite. If I hinge too much and try and backpedal out quickly and shoot, I get more motion. Versus if I just sort of roll my feet and sort of stand in my default, I don't know, there's layers and nuance here where I'll find a thing that works in a context and my brain wants to generalize it and be like, oh, just do that thing. Like, just hinge more.
Yeah.
And then it's like, all right, well, let me reverse quickly. And it's like, oh, that's terrible. Because then you're sort of reaching behind your body, and so your center of gravity is tilting back and forth. If you take big steps backwards with like a forward bias, anyway, you'll see what I mean.
When you're doing that, are you also still doing like a heel-toe movement? I've noticed I can move just as aggressively backwards. I mean, obviously not as fast as I am going forwards, but if I'm moving pretty hastily backwards, if I'm making sure that the front of my foot is in contact first and I can roll pretty and kind of keep that motion, my dot can be pretty steady as I back up. Because I was doing that on the notion.
You mean heel-toe or toe-heel backing up?
Toe-heel.
Like rolling your foot down.
Yeah.
You back out of positions well. Like, that's not an issue for you.
Not as well as Dylan.
Yeah, but Dylan does like the creeping thing. Like, unless he's running, he's not usually moving fast. He's just moving constantly. Which honestly Jacob does a lot too. Like, Jacob does a lot of just shooting slightly off balance, like noisy feet the whole way through the position, but it clearly works out for him. I was watching the Area 2 footage that Jeff and Jay are going to, when Jeff gets internet later this week, do a react video to. And you could see sort of really noisy feet and it not affecting the shooting at all.
Yeah. I've noticed that. I've noticed it quite often with Dylan, where his feet are doing something and it's like not indicative of what's going on with his upper half at all. And like, I don't even know what just happened.
Well, yeah, it's just like he's constantly cheating an extra 6 inches in some direction at all times. And unless the position requires him to be rooted in the spot, he's probably moving. I was thinking about that in terms of stage design, like what kind of stage mechanics you can put to make those people stop for a second. And I think it's most in leans with more than one target. Because a single target lean, you can sort of swing out, keep your momentum, and swing back. But if you put 2 targets and a piece of steel on a lean, their feet have to stop.
Funny enough, that's actually some of the things. So back to our conversation earlier, that's one of the things I'm trying to do is to catch people who want to just disrespect steel a little bit. Like, so on leans, on I really like them on entries and exits a lot too. Well, like you're going into position, the first thing you're going to see is a piece of steel, and you're going to want to shoot it as you're coming in. And the people who are good and like know how to like roll their weight into a position, they're going to be very successful when they enter that position and hit a piece of steel first bang, and then kind of work through it. Uh, I think that's something I'm going to try and use a little bit more. Yeah.
I don't think steel makeups hurt people that much, though.
If you do them fast.
Yes, but the people who do them fast are doing everything else fast, too. And so it's a lie to look at a stage where you're like, man, I was right there, except for I had 3 makeups on steel. And then you look at the AMG data, and the person who won the stage had 2 makeups on steel.
Yeah.
But they did everything else fast enough that they could tank that.
Yeah.
I love AMG data for this. It undercuts our ability to say, oh, it's like my mistakes. And then, it's 24 round stage and they have 28 shots. It's like, no, The guy who won it had 4 makeups.
Yeah, I think it's just how I'm interpreting what I've watched from Race Car Nationals. Was I think the big separator on a lot of stages, because they weren't anything crazy. You're moving on some forgivable partials. You're moving on a lot of opens, but I feel like a lot of people lost a lot of time on steel.
Yes.
And it's like it was like some of it was even stationary steel.
Right. So people definitely lose, myself included, lots of time on steel. But finding an aiming strategy where I never miss steel isn't the solution.
Yeah.
Unless you're doing everything else faster than everybody.
Well, my thing too was, so for me, like if I'm on a stage and like say I'm shooting against people who can beat me, I'm kind of feeling the urgency on every target, which translates to steel for me. And if I feel it a little too much, I'm very likely to left, right, middle, and then send a few where some of the other people don't. So it's just a me thing too, where I might get in my own head a little too much. I think I need to rush it way more than I do. So it's kind of a trap.
Yeah, so some of the people I really enjoy watching their videos have a makeup on steel on most field courses that has more than 3 pieces of steel, but they have 1, and it's an aimed makeup, right? They're in motion, their foot disturbed the sights, and so it's an immediate makeup. Yep. They don't shoot at it, miss at it on the other side, and then decide to aim and hit it. It's like miss ding.
Yeah, that's a lesson I need to learn.
Well, because they're doing it right the first time, but they just don't control all the circumstances. It's not zero risk.
Okay. I see what you're saying.
I'm really just talking to myself here, but you don't have to agree with me. You can disagree.
I think for me, it's
I think the steel is often showing a problem that I actually have in a bunch of places. Same thing that causes a miss on a steel causes me to collect Charlies on targets that I have no business shooting Charlies on. It's just unavoidable on the steel because I missed it, so I have to keep shooting. And emotionally, I can deal with the fact that I double Charlied a 7-yard open. Yeah. But I made the exact same mistake.
Yeah. Well, so that you actually just kind of said what I was going to say, is that the tension issues I might have sometimes will directly correlate to steel. And I'll start squeezing too hard and ganking a little bit. I'm a little bit better about it now. But for a long time, I was just squeezing as hard as I could with everything, for better or worse. So I've gotten a lot better with steel now, understanding okay, you just got to dot on the steel, pull it, and you're good. See you later.
I think it was maybe 24, Area 7, whatever was the first year at SIG. Is that 23 or 24?
24.
So there's a little bridge, and there's 4 pieces of steel at about, 16, 18 yards.
Yep.
You sort of have a shooting area on either side of the bridge, and you have to shoot the steel. I watched you fly through that steel, and it's just ding, 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 ding.
Oh, yeah, that was great.
Yeah, that was not stopping a dot on the center of the steel.
No. But that was also, to my point of, I wasn't squeezing super hard. I was controlling the gun without a ton of input from this hand.
Okay. But it wasn't, you didn't have an aiming strategy or an engagement strategy that was somehow steel specific. You just weren't making a mistake of steering the gun off target while pulling the trigger.
Yes.
So I think sometimes people like me mishear that.
Yeah. I got that is fair. Yeah, so pretty much for me, it was like as soon as that red touched the white, I knew I could totally just pull. Sights were going to be disrupted, and I could just totally trust that the shot was going where it was going.
Because this last year has not been a great year for me. That's okay. They happen. 25 has been pretty rough. And I've had a couple of matches where I've shot steel, quote unquote, really well.
Yep.
And against similar competitors on similar stages. So let's say in 24, I was back 3 seconds, but I had 3 makeups on steel.
Yep.
And then the error I brought with me this year is I'll shoot against similar competitors on a similar stage, and I'll go 1 for 1 on steel, and I will be back 3 seconds. Because what got me time last year was a level of urgency and immediacy that also caused me to miss steel. And then what let me hit the steel was a level of caution that lost me time everywhere else.
Yeah. I actually saw you do that at 2024 Nationals when you started scoring your hits. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a bad scene.
It's funny because it's not funny. But yeah, the change in your day 3 shooting was like, I'm going to shoot points. I'm going to be nicely paced. I'm not really trying to win. I'm just want my points. I was like,
It's ugly.
I mean, I wouldn't say it was ugly, but I was like, this doesn't look like the same guy I just watched shoot the 2 days prior, who had some pep in his step.
Yeah, and I did that a lot this year. Only without the points, but like the same level of caution. And it's... Yeah. You're comfortable being pretty out of control.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Right? Like you're...
I think it's pretty fun. I mean, it's super fun.
I am not.
For me, it's like, I can compete at the level I can, like... I've now found where I can compete and call my shots, do everything. So it's actually kind of nice to get out of that comfort zone and like let things get a little crazy and see what happens. And the thing I've actually kind of noticed is if I let that kind of happen and let the wheels fall off a little bit, it's not as ugly as I thought it was going to be, which to me is a little frustrating because it feels like, okay, so I'm leaving a little bit more on the table than I think I am all the time. So that comes back to me and I got to figure out how I can bring that to training. Because like I said, when I let the wheels fly off, it's not as ugly as it probably should be for how ugly I want it to be, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah, when you just decide to swing away at a stage, and then you shoot 7 Charlies, right, on a field course, and you're like, oh, why am I not swinging away more often? That's not so bad. That was really fast.
Yeah, there's like this, like you're saying, there's like this this feeling of caution sometimes that I need to like let go a little bit because I think it'll actually help me break through this plateau I feel like I've been in for a little bit.
Oh, you think you're plateaued?
A little bit. Kind of.
I thought you were more consolidating.
Maybe.
Because, like, your floor has come up a huge amount.
Yeah. I think there's more I could find on the top end a little bit. I think I've been so focused on not letting myself fall off super hard. Like, the consistency part of it, which is something I feel like I lacked. Like, I feel like I was insanely inconsistent for a long time. So I think I spent a lot of time trying to be like, find this consistent pace where I think I could execute this like 85, 90% all the time. And it's always going to be what I need it to be. But I feel like there's a higher end of that I need to explore some more. I feel like I haven't been really exploring too much. If that makes sense.
So we're kind of running long on time, and unfortunately this is more like a conversation just between you and me. So it may not be very interesting to anyone else, and that's okay. I'm a terrible interviewer. We know this. More of the data geek side. You do have a deep reservoir of hate, right? So you watch people's match videos, right? Like even the people who won, whatever the match was, and you're like, oh, that wasn't so great. I can do that.
Oh yeah, a lot of the time. I mean, like when you watch, I mean, there's a couple people you can watch and you're like, okay, that was pretty good. All right, I get it. Sometimes you watch people, and I don't know if it's how I'm perceiving it, but nothing looks like not doable, which then like kind of makes me be like, why am I not just doing that? That looks so effortless and easy. Just do that.
Yeah, I mean, I do think a lot of good shooting looks boring
Yeah,
in third person.
I know. Like, actually, I want to name drop Nathan Barnes because he's an absolute animal. But when you shoot, like every match he just shoots like right where he needs to every time. Like he just looks so incredibly consistent that it's like almost kind of like frustrating a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I shot a match with him IPSC Nationals earlier this year,
Yeah.
and so we're on the same squad, and I'm watching him shoot, and he shoots right after me or two after me, last name A,
Yeah.
last name B, right? And I'd watch his runs, and they all looked good, like they looked like good runs,
Yeah.
but they didn't look great. And then like I look at his score at the end of the day, and it's like, oh, he's killing it,
Yeah. Like him, I'm so
like absolutely killing it.
Like
Shooting
him,
very boring.
I know. He just makes sure he gets the points, even if he has to wait there a little bit longer.
I think him and Sam Matt actually shoot kind of similarly. There's less Sam Matt video available to us, but
He's getting better.
they do some they do some boring shooting that's very, very high level.
Yeah. But even you watch Jay shoot sometimes, it looks very, very dry. But he's crushing, and you're just like, what's going on?
Yeah, I want to see Jay shoot with your level of willingness to be at the ragged edge of control.
That's all I want. I want to shoot with him more. I hate to be so far, but I'm like pretty excited if he actually shoots Frozen Chosen with us. I feel like that's going to be a ton of fun. But
I'll hide in single stack.
I'm actually so. I want to see. Well, it's going to be hard to see that because it's only one match. But I think I want to shoot at the level I can just shoot now and see how it stacks wherever he is at. Because that'll give me an idea like how hard I need to push, whatever I need to push to kind of bring up my ceiling a little bit more. Does that make sense?
It does, but I'm gonna disagree with you pretty sharply. So, just because I know a little bit of what's going on in his life. So he shot my single stack gun at a local match a couple weeks ago. That was the first time he'd touched a gun since World Shoot with live rounds.
Damn it.
And when he rolls out to Frozen Chosen, I think he started skipping that match, like he started skipping Trident in part because he doesn't want to be a benchmark for people when he's not at his best. And he doesn't want somebody like me to come along and be like, I shot 94% at J, and then like get blown out by 15% at every major for the rest of the year. Because I didn't, right? Like, who didn't stop shooting all winter when he rolled out of bed and came and shot a match. Do you know what I mean?
There's a new plan. The new plan is to absolutely dust Jay.
There you go. I like this. And you put it out there. You're going to dust him by 10+%.
For sure.
You're going to wrest my Frozen Chosen crown from me.
Yeah. You're
going to come up the night before. You're going to get a full night of sleep. You're going to have a good breakfast. You're going to have the appropriate level of caffeine. You're not going to get drunk. You're going to just be there New Year's Day dusting people.
Yeah. That's the plan.
And I'll wait till the last minute to decide whether I register an LO or CO so I can still get a little wooden plaque.
Hell yeah. We kind of derailed off the haterade convo.
No, it came out right there. Right? Like, you're joking, but you're not.
A little bit.
I mean, this is why you can't benchmark against people and you have to benchmark against a field. And this is why you, Dylan, and Frank, and Kenton are so lucky where if Dylan's gun bricks or if Frank has a bad stage, which doesn't really happen, but pretend it did happen,
Yep.
and it's just the two of you, you don't really know what it means.
Yeah.
But if it's the four of you at a match and you win, and you squatted with them and you saw that they shot well, like that's meaningful data.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you know what they're capable of and you saw what happened.
Yeah.
But if you're like, hey, I'm shooting against Nils at this match and just Nils, like, who knows if he's just having a good time.
Yeah, he seems like he's there for a good time sometimes.
Right. And so you're like, wow, I finished X of person Y. It's like, well, this is why, like, percentage of person doesn't matter. And why you need, like, a competitive field to give results meaning.
We've talked about that before, I think.
Yeah, well, I'm big on that one. I also don't want to scare Jay off not coming to Frozen Chosen by you calling him out. But you saying that you're going to dust him, that will excite the competitive spark in him. So, how good is it going to feel if you win?
I mean, if he was, like, dialed, it would feel great. But if he just...
So you're handicapping your own victory? You don't know what's going on with him. Maybe he is really dialed.
Well, he better be.
Or else you're going to dust him.
Exactly. I'm gonna tell him he needs to be locked in. No freebies.
No freebies, yeah. So, yeah, never mind. I'll leave it alone. But this is, I don't have either of your guys' skill or local dominance, but this is the feeling of dread that comes over me when I have to go shoot a match against someone who's trying to beat me, who I don't think can beat me on a decent day for me, but I know it's important to them to beat me. It's like, well, now I have nothing to gain from being here.
Yeah.
Because if I win, well, we already knew that was going to happen. But if they win, they beat me. So it's like I'm giving them something, which is good, because I should take that feeling and use it to focus up. Like, I should welcome that feeling. It shouldn't keep me home.
I know, but that goes both ways, right? So, I've actually had this conversation with Dylan before. I think there's someone else I've spoken with too, where part of the reason they hate locals is because they want to use locals specifically to push speed or kind of see where their wheels fall off, which is usually going to incur some type of penalties, whether it's misses, no shoots, whatever it is. So it's not necessarily indicative of how you would normally treat the match. But regardless, it's on paper. It's logged somewhere that whoever it is beat you, and then they're, like you're saying, they could be like, oh, I beat this guy. It's like, well, did you really, though? Like, but it's there. There's nothing you could do. Even though you were there for yourself, and you were just there to see these things through, there's the other person who's like, yeah, I beat him. Yeah, I beat him. It's like,
Especially if you then see their posts, right? Like their like crowing posts where they highlight their practice score results, and you're like, no, I was doing a specific thing. I was working on, whatever it was. I just wanted to shoot entries as early as possible. My only focus, every stage plan was let me shoot my entries early. And now they post and they like take their little iPhone highlighter and they highlight their score right over yours to be like, I beat Kyle Narkum.
You're there, you're just down there, a little 2 or 3rd, and you're like, why'd you have to crop it so I'm there? You could have just...
Yeah, exactly. Couldn't you have cropped me out? Couldn't you have just cropped out your 100%? Like, don't put me in your screenshot. It's even worse, and this should really excite your haterade, is when people do it on stages.
Oh, yeah.
When somebody is, which, I guess if you need that, good for you, right? Like, if you're like, hey, I want some validation that I did really well here, I shouldn't hate on that. Good for them. But I hate being in somebody's screenshot of a stage win of a match I beat them at. That drives me crazy.
See?
Because it's like, we actually shot 6 stages. You did win that one. That's true.
Yeah.
But we shot 6 of them, and I beat you.
So I'm torn, because I'm guilty of this. Where I'm usually... So, if I have, like, a good stage win, it looked like I was a little crazy, but, like, all the hits of their everything looked good. I don't want people to just, like, assume I, like, threw misses, I didn't care. It was just... I didn't give it. I want, like, the accountability that I actually had the hits, even though it may have looked like I was shooting a little too fast for some of these things. I feel like I see some people throw up videos shooting like they're the next national champ, and they're just like, winging it through a stage, and you're like, that didn't hit anything. So that kind of bugs me. So like when I'm doing it, it's usually to show or have some level of accountability on like how I shot the stage. Because like the hater in me is like, I know you missed that. I know you did not hit that. When I see some of those videos, yeah. So there's a reason I do it, is just to keep the accountability there versus.
So yeah, I don't know what you do. So if I'm accidentally tagging you in this, my apologies.
Not no, it's not usually that bad. Yeah, I do it for a specific reason. For like, so you can see, like, I didn't just fly through the stage just willy nilly just for fun. I was actually.
Oh, so you're talking about like when you put in the practice score picture so that people can see your hits. Oh, yeah, sure. That's different than if you post a picture of you and then you underline Mason's name behind you to be like, look at me. Or have you also done that?
No, but that is
okay.
That is a little too cringe for me.
And it's one thing if you win the match, but if you didn't win the match, and then you're like, look at this stage where I beat so and so, and you're like,
yeah, because Mason threw 2 deltas, hit a no shoot, dropped the magazine. Yeah, yeah.
He wouldn't do that, but yeah.
Yeah,
not
no.
Mason.
In that context, no, not like that. My thing is, my haterade pet peeve, like I was saying, is guys, is like the Instagram guys who are like flying through stages or doing something or like posting training, and you're like, I know and you didn't hit a goddamn thing, but you did it for the views. That's what bugs the hell out of me.
Oh, does that mean when I send you videos I need to start showing my hits?
No, I trust you.
And they're not very fast, so.
Plus, if there's ever anything bad when you send me something, you usually, the pretense is there where you're like, yeah, I did this and I was flying them over the top, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't obviously share a lot of videos, but typically when I do, I just clip the actual shooting bits because the walking 20 yards to look at the targets isn't very exciting.
Oh, if we're talking haterade, you know what I hate? I hate more than anything is like a stage video, and I'm spending 15 seconds watching the guy make ready. That makes me want to blow. I want to block people. I hate them.
It's okay. It's okay if there's something funny happening or if there's good commentary.
Oh yeah, for sure. But if you're sitting there, you just Barney it, drop your hammer, okay, whatever. Then you sit there and you're like, you didn't need all this. I didn't need all that. Just give me the meat.
But how do you know they take it seriously if you don't see their last 3 air guns?
There's nothing that drives me more crazy than too much air gunning.
But they're just trying to help you, Kyle. They're trying to show you their process for that excellent stage result.
Yeah, for sure. Yep, that was it. I'm a firm believer that you should have all your thinking done before you load your gun. For sure.
Yeah, but sometimes you don't.
There's
like sometimes you got stuck in a conversation and then, oh my goodness, you're up. Or you forgot to load your mags and you realize when you're on the line, so then you're stuffing your mags and you have a little moment of panic and so you want to like do a self-soothing walkthrough.
But how locked in were you?
I don't know, man. Somebody calls and your cat's sick.
Oh, I mean, that's different, yeah. But if so, like, say it's like a match I care about, whether it's like a major or something. If I know I'm like 3 shooters deep, I'll usually try and detach myself from anything that's like happening with the squad, and then kind of be in my own world. I've tried doing this thing. So, do you watch shooters before you or no?
I can't help it. Like, I'm a fan of shooting sports, so I typically always do.
I try not to anymore. And I just try to like replay what I want to do in my own head without the distraction of seeing whatever they're doing. But yeah, I don't know. I try and do all the thinking beforehand. There's a couple of times where I'm like, if it's like a very difficult stage and there's some like very specific positions or spots or aiming schemes you're gonna need, like I'll sit there, I'll think about it, but I don't.
Maybe that'll break you through your plateau. A longer
Maybe
make
that's
ready.
it. Maybe the make ready is where the magic's made.
And also for watching other shooters, if there is like a decision point in the stage, and it's helpful sometimes. There's a really tight position that you can sort of pick up farther away, or you can end up closer, and you kind of have a stage plan for either. You have a known quantity shooter, you watch how they shoot it, it goes well for them, and then you sort of get that confidence jolt that, oh yeah, I can do that.
That's the only, like that's kind of what I think is
Activator sequences too, right? There's a more aggressive activator sequence and there's a more conservative one.
Yep.
You could do either one, but you're low confidence in the aggressive one, and then you watch someone who's more or less at your level, like nail the aggressive one, and you're like, oh yeah, I've got that.
Even then, I feel like I think if it was one or two people before me, I might honestly still try not to look, because I don't want to be in my own head, because then I'm racing a clock that's non-existent at that moment. Like, I think that's a recipe for disaster sometimes. And I've been guilty of it forever, is racing a clock that I shouldn't be in my own head.
Yeah, you shoot very, very fast.
And then sometimes I still feel slow. And I'm like, I don't know where I got it in my head that I feel slow. So actually, perfect example. There was a stage we were shooting at a match, and something happened. And like, we were like, the goal was to fly through the stage fast. And like, there was a couple moments in the stage where I could literally feel myself thinking like, okay, we're going to slow down right here. We're going to hit the steel, and as soon as that steel is down, we're going to go again. But it was like a cognitive decision in that moment of like what I was going to do at a portion of the stage, which just surprised me that it even happened, considering how fast we were trying to shoot the stage. It was just cool to see.
Oh yeah, like the random sort of positive strengthening thoughts that pop into your head when you're shooting well.
Yeah.
So it's like you come into a position, you shoot a few targets, and it goes well, and you're like, oh, that went really well. I can do that faster in this next position. And it wasn't bad, but you're like, I'm really getting after it here. And then you do, and it goes well. Maybe you never have that.
It wasn't necessarily that. It was like it was literally a conscious thought while I was shooting how to handle a certain position as I was coming to it. Meanwhile, if realistically everything's happening super fast, and for some reason it felt slow, like we've talked about before, and I was literally thinking and having thoughts as I was shooting, which was just, I don't know, it was something I wish I could make happen more often than it does.
To be so automatic that your brain's sort of freed up to think whatever it thinks.
Yeah.
Without derailing you.
There's something to it. I don't know how I can replicate that, but it was, everything was happening probably as fast as it could have, and I still feel like I was processing it and having conscious thoughts on how I was going to do certain things as I was going through the stage, while not slowing down. So that's something I need to explore. Oh, actually, you know what I might try again? It's something I sent you a video of a long time ago, where I would go through a course of fire and I would audibly call the hits out loud to make sure like I'm processing in real time what I'm seeing, even though I'm trying to go as fast as appropriately, or as appropriate as I can. I think that was.
I remember you doing that.
I think that was actually
like, Alpha Charlie, Alpha Alpha, as you're shooting. Like,
yeah. I think that's something I might try and explore some more, because I am still trying to do everything as fast as I can, but making sure I'm still processing in real time what's going on. So that's something I might try and explore some more.
So for me, that's like a trap, because we're wired so differently. If I say what I did, then I continue thinking about it while I'm supposed to be doing the next thing.
Oh. Okay.
And again, this is just me, but this is, my shot calling needs to be binary, which is, good enough, shoot again.
Yeah.
Not a problem for you.
Yeah. Well, you know what? The one thing, I don't know, there's a couple things I want to explore in training, but I gotta figure that out. I gotta figure that piece out. I feel like there's more I could do, I just haven't figured that part out yet.
What do you mean?
Like in training, I feel like I've been so concerned about the consistency part of it that my training has been very like fundamental based, which has been great. I mean, everything's going better. Like shot calling's been great. Like fundamentals as far as like mechanics with the firearm itself have been great. But I think there's like some pieces missing to that where I need to add more to the training itself to kind of break through a little more.
So Khalil Virey, a couple of years ago in an interview, was describing on a Czech shooting show. He was describing his training regimen. And he was, they were asking him different questions. He's like, and then I set something up and I shoot it really fast. And they're like, oh, are you focusing on this? He's like, no, I just shoot it really, really fast. And he got very intense about. And I think maybe that's one place to start to explore that is in dry or live fire. It's like, okay, I'm going to shoot this really, really fast.
I've done that a little bit. So there was, I don't know, I was maybe like 10 yards from a popper, 8 yards from a paper. And what I was trying to do is as fast as I can, paper to steel. And that was pretty eye-opening. I was like, okay, I can actually do that pretty consistently a lot faster than I thought I could.
That's interesting because almost that exact scenario, what happens to me is if I do it repeatedly, it slows down.
I started pushing it to the point where I don't think, I mean, for someone else it might have been possible, but for me, it was just pushing it too fast, I think, for me to do, while maintaining alphas on the paper.
So what I mean is, I'm not sure I'm disagreeing with you, but again, specific to me, may not be relevant to you, is, so let's say you push that transition time to where functionally it's a split. It's like it's a split between two different targets, right? And so you're getting off of the steel in the time you would split the paper, and you're getting to the steel in the time you would split the paper, where then your split time becomes like the transition time. And let's say I do that successfully, back and forth twice, and then I try and do it longer. As the string of fire goes longer, error starts to creep in.
Yeah.
And I either miss the steel, or it goes so well that like I just sort of swing at the steel and I didn't really expect to hit it, and I do hit it, and then I have this processing lag where I recognize that I've hit it and then transition back to the paper, and I've now lost that timing.
I wonder if that's something I need to do. So I don't really necessarily do long strings of fire. Like I've been breaking it down. I think like the most things I would do maybe like 10, maybe 12 rounds of positional stuff. I'm never doing anything that's like crazy huge, like reload, like big stage type practices.
Yeah, I don't know if this has a lot of value, but I was playing with this a few weeks ago, and it had value for me in the moment. It was just a really simple sort of random target transition, 12 reload 12.
Okay.
And what I wanted at the end of after the reload to be transitioning as quickly as I was on the first 12. So 6 targets.
Oh.
Shoot them, and I wasn't. Right? Like and I think better shooters are. Like whatever the time it is to get the gun from where it was to where it needs to be is relatively constant. And the longer the string of fire went on, the more I would lag. So let's say it's after the reload, I don't have quite the same grip. So it slows down a little bit more because I'm paying attention to the dot. And then I become aware that I don't have the right grip. And so then I'm thinking a little bit between targets. And so if in the first string, you transition to the last target and the time is whatever, after the reload, it would be whatever plus 0.1.
Oh, I see.
And again, this is like an ammo burner, so maybe it won't be very valuable for you. But it might be fun to try a couple times. It's like, hey, can whatever my max speed is, can I maintain it for 24 rounds?
See, that's something I should probably look at a little more.
And so then I was trying to do, and I came home from the range and I was trying to do it in dry fire, and I would see the same problem.
Oh, really?
Or something would go wrong, and then I wouldn't get back on track.
Oh, okay.
So it's like I miss the load a little bit, I fix it, and then everything slows down after that. Or I over transition after that because I'm trying to make up the time, and so I speed up and I start watching my dot swing past the targets.
Yeah, that's hard. So I do that more I'd say I do longer strings of dry fire than anything else. So maybe that's helped me in that department. Is where I've done probably.
So you do like stage length.
Oh yeah. I don't even know. I've probably done like 40, 50 round dry fire stages. Yeah. I don't want to do that in live fire, which maybe I'm missing something there.
A lot less ammo.
Yeah. But yeah, that's I dry fire. My dry fire setup is pretty nice. I actually bought everything to build stands for targets. All the PVC is still in the boxes. I just kind of thumbtacked them to my walls and called it good. That's still cool.
And you still dry fire a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Recently, yes. Since I'd say when it was nationals, June, late June. I'd say right around middle of July, my wrist was healed. So right around middle of July to now, I've been dry firing almost once a day. Not as heavy. I mean, there's 4 or 5 days. There's maybe 10, 15 minutes, nothing crazy. But then I usually, if it's a night I have nothing going on, I'll make sure I'm down there for like half hour. That's when I'll do like bigger stage stuff. I'll try and kind of do some things a little more interesting. I have I don't know if it's helped me or not, because it's kind of goofy, but I have like the swinger dry fire thing. I totally gave up on it. I don't know if it's helpful or not, but I used it. But now I just have it set up as another target that's like a partial. But I do want
I have the little mini dry fire swinger, and it just stays where it was.
Yeah.
Partial.
Yeah.
I have a full-size swinger, though, that I need to grease the bearings of and get back to dry firing, because that's fun. What you can do with a full-size swinger is it creates a part-time. Because you're like, hey, I'm going to hit the swinger, pick up these 2 targets, hit the swinger, pick up these, pick up 2 other targets, hit the swinger. And so you have to be back.
Yeah. That's what I was doing with this little one. But it starts to slow down, so you're only really getting like, when it was new, it swung a little bit better. So I could use it a little better when I first got it. But then now it starts to slow down so fast, I'm like, it is what it is. But I was just going to say something, and I totally forgot what it was.
I sidetracked you. It was going to be your big training breakthrough.
It was right there. Oh, you know what I was going to say is we should just go to Jay's house and drive in his basement one day. Without the Legos, of course.
Oh, just use his dry fire setup?
Yeah.
I've heard good things about that.
It looks pretty slick.
It does look pretty slick. He's also got a range like 80 feet away from there.
It's that close?
Maybe 120 feet.
Oh, okay. So he just runs barefoot out there and then trains?
I don't know. You'd have to ask him, but hopefully he's not training barefoot.
He might be.
He might be. But yeah, I think we should really, and we will end on this note, but to really get the maximum benefit, we should not tell him.
Oh, just show up.
Yeah. Do you think he'd turn us away?
I don't know. Depends what's going on. He is a big family man.
Well, we can try and time it. If it's late at night, the kids will be asleep.
We can do that. We can also show up with pizza. That might do it.
Oh, it could. All right, so let's do that. So after you dust him at Frozen Chosen,
yep,
obliterate after you obliterate him to salve his wounded ego, we'll show up at his house and try fire in his basement.
Yeah, I'll give him a private training lesson on
Should be great. Well, Thank you for coming on, Kyle. Again, I'm a terrible interviewer. You did your best to hold up the conversation. We really, really need Jeff to get internet again, so then he can pressure Jeremy to host his podcast. But appreciate you coming on. Do you have any specific shout-outs that you feel like you should have made?
Shout-outs?
Like to your production slide sponsor.
Oh, for Saul Allen for donating this lovely shout-out to slide.
That you clearly have not used yet.
I have, actually. And every time I do, I get beyond frustrated and then question myself. But I will get good with it. It's just not easy at all.
I don't know if you will. I really don't know if you'll get good at production because it's a different skill set. And at a certain point, you'll be like, okay, I could work on learning this obsolete skill that I'll never showcase, or I could use this time to compete better at the division I care about.
The latter sounds much better. But
all right, new challenge. We'll shoot head-to-head production Frozen Chosen.
no, I have a mission.
If Jay pulls out, then it's the production showdown.
Oh, I'm gonna get dusted.
I haven't shot production in years. I don't think you will.
Yeah, but you shoot a single stack.
Not really. Not very well.
Maybe. What do you think about
I'll keep the targets inside 10 yards. All right, Kyle. Thanks a lot for coming on.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. Hopefully we get to do this with Jay or Jeremy at some point.
Yeah, they'll ask real questions and put your feet to the fire.
That'd be fantastic.
You know, Jay's a real task driver.
Yes, quite.